You started with a dream, now you leading a team, working it closing them deals, working with purpose. You don't walk around with a purse, but you working it, walking in heels. Beauty and brains, speaking and fighting for change, intellectual and clever. You show the ladies everything a man can do, you can do better.
Hey guys, so welcome to the Wealthy Kings Virtual Summit. I am your host, Rashana Scott, and I am so excited to be bringing you guys this individual who I've known for a couple of years now. He is a very well-known, trusted professional in the Chicagoland area. And I am sure he is going to bring you guys a wealth of knowledge, gems, content, information today, all of that good stuff. So I will let him introduce himself, Mr. Jeff Badu. Thank you so much for being on here. Thank you for saying yes.
Thank you, Rashana. Definitely appreciate you for inviting me today and looking forward to a great discussion today.
Yeah, absolutely. So let our listeners know who you are, a little bit about yourself. What was life like growing up? And then we'll get to, who you are today.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Jeff Badu, and I was born in Ghana, right? Born and raised in Ghana. For those who don't know, Ghana is one of the countries on the west side of Africa. So for me, growing up, things were pretty good, right? Life wasn't all that bad. I know there are some stories about some folks who go through a lot of struggle when they're in like a foreign country. But for me, Ghana it was pretty good, right? It's a good time. Um, the thing that I learned the most was entrepreneurship, though. So the thing about Ghana is we have a very hustle mentality. Like you got to go out and get it. And if you don't, then you're not going to be able to put food on the table and you might starve to death, literally, right? There's no food stamps, no Section 8, no stimmies, right? None of that is in Ghana. So with that being said, you really have to go out and get it. So now for me, I was able to see the struggle that people were going through, but I never actually understood it, right? So basically, I was the kid through learning, right? People selling stuff on the streets, you had them selling clothes, shoes, right? Fruit, everything to make ends meet. So I was like, okay, somebody gave me a candy bar. I'm the guy that's gonna go out on the street to sell it as well, not knowing what I'm doing, but more so just more so emulating what I'm seeing. So with that being said, I then migrated to the US at the age of 8, and that's when life went downhill, unfortunately. That's when tragic times came about, right? So what happened was that at the age of 8, when I came to the US, I migrated here with my older sister, and my parents were also here. My dad was actually the very first person in my entire family tree to come to the United States of America, right? So we were put in Chicago, and long story short, put into a neighborhood called Uptown in Chicago, which at the time, back in 2001 or so, was one of the worst neighborhoods you can ever put a child. And no fault of anybody, right? I mean, my parents didn't really know what they were doing. But Uptown was surrounded by violence, drugs, shootings. I mean, all the things that you would not want for even your worst enemy were in Uptown. And unfortunately, the friends that I surrounded myself with were involved in these things. They say, "Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future." Well, my friends were folks that were not like-minded, right? So I ended up being one of them. It was tough. And then at the age of 16, was able to turn things around by taking a trip back to Ghana. That's when I finally saw and understood the struggle. And that's when I discovered my purpose in life, which is to inspire and support the super hungry to take hold of infinite resources in order to create an abundant lifestyle. All right. So things turned around, my faith turned around, my spiritual life became a lot better. I was able to tap into the spirit. And so for me, every day when I move directly in the spirit. I read half the Bible when I was 16 years old. I'm actually reading the entire Bible right now. And so things got better, surrounding myself with more like-minded people, friends, right, colleagues, acquired a mentor, someone who was able to guide me throughout the process. I actually went through something similar that I went through, and things got better, right? Grades got better, ended up going into the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. I was the first person in Uplift Community High School's history to get accepted into the U of I, and was able to go there, got a bachelor's degree in accounting, master's degree in accounting, and was also working on my business plan, which I'm sure we'll talk about, which is Badu Tax Services LLC today. That's a bit about my story.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. So you were like you say, so you were 16 and you went back to Ghana and then you
Mhm.
came back to the States when it was time to go to college.
That's right. Well, so basically, the at 16, that was just a short trip. So my family told me, "Hey, we're just taking a quick, family trip to go see some family members." I had been there for 8 years, and so wanted to go there. Also celebrated my 16th birthday party over there, right? So yeah, I thought it was just going to be any other trip, right? But that separation from the friends that I had at the time was exactly what I needed because that allowed me to get out of that environment, see things in a better light, and be able to actually see the light, right? Instead of the darkness that was all surrounded around me. So came back to the U.S. It was about I think August of 2008, you know, and ultimately once came back to the States, very very fresh, very very ready. Grades got better. Everything got a lot better for me at that time.
Got it. Okay. So, like you said, went to school, got your degrees, and then decided right out of college that you were gonna start your own business. Did you go and work at an accounting firm at all? Like what was that transition like?
Yeah, great question. So basically, I mean, for me, I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, right? Entrepreneurship runs in my blood. My parents are entrepreneurs. A lot of my family members are entrepreneurs. In Ghana, entrepreneurship is heavily promoted. So I always knew I wanted to be one. When I was in college, I was working on my business plan, which is now known as Badu Tax Services. I spent 1 hour a day working on that plan, right? Minimum 1 hour a day, every single day, 365 days a year for about 5 years. I started interning at PricewaterhouseCoopers, which at the time was the number one public accounting firm. And then in 2015, I got my CPA. I passed my CPA exam, and then I was working full time for PricewaterhouseCoopers. At the time, I thought I was going to be there for 5 years. Absolutely hated it. I enjoyed the experience that I was able to get from working there, right? But I absolutely hated it because I felt like there were changes around, my ankles. To be honest, right? I felt like I, in a way, was someone who was basically pretty much putting in a lot of time and energy for another person, right? For me to get very minimal rewards. I didn't feel like I could grow at PwC. So that's when I fully launched my business plan, Badu Tax Services, right? And today, as we're speaking right now, we're a firm that has 15 people on our team across all 50 states in the US. We have clients all 50 states in the US. We're approaching the 3,000 or so client mark, and we have clients that are based in over 25 countries at the moment. And that company has since evolved into Badu Enterprises, right? Badu Tax Services is basically one of the main companies in Badu Enterprises. Badu Enterprises now is composed of 10 conglomerates, and they're all within financial services, right? So we're talking the tax firm, we're talking our real estate investment company. We currently control just about 200 units or so on the south side of Chicago through Badu Investments. And then we also have other companies like Badu Life and Health Solutions LLC, which is now our life and health insurance branch, right, within the company. And we do a lot of other things, right? So that company has since evolved, but it took time, right? That's the thing that some people don't know about entrepreneurship. It actually takes time. It's not just, oh, you get into your kitchen, you find a good recipe and boom, that's it. It just turns into $1 million. It takes time, it takes the business plan, it takes mentors, it takes coaching, it takes grunt work, it takes sweat equity, it takes everything. So through that experience, I was able to get me to where I am today.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. So you mentioned like this business plan, like being such a vital I would say piece, right, in your success. And you mentioned, you worked on it every day for at minimum an hour. And
Mhm.
so there are so many people that do not have business plans when they're looking to get started.
Mhm.
Um, and I want to talk about like what are some of the what were you working on for? Like, what exactly, were you working on for an hour a day for 365 days? And most people, it's not going to take them, that long, right? So what are some of the key things that people need to look at, when they are starting, starting a business? What are some key things that they need to think about, look for, put into this plan? What would you
For sure.
suggest?
Yeah, so Michael Jordan didn't become the greatest basketball player of all time just by sitting on the couch, right? He spent hours upon hours in the gym shooting jump shots, practicing moments where there was only 5 seconds left on the clock. So I did the same. In order to become the best accountant, the best business owner, right? All the things that's out there. In order to become one of the wealthiest human beings to ever scratch the surface of this planet, you got to practice. You got to put things into perspective. You basically have to perfect your craft, right? So I wrote a book called Seven Figures: How to Become a Millionaire. And in one of the first chapters, it talks about the 5 steps to successfully launching any business. Step one, you need to find something you're passionate about. So in that hour a day, I literally was testing myself. Am I passionate enough about this? I mean, I spent an hour a day. There has to be some type of passion with it, right? So that was a test for me. Am I passionate? And passion meaning, number one, is this something you would enjoy doing even if you weren't getting paid for it? And number two, is this something that is scalable? Is this something that you're truly gonna like in the long run? Not just a year, 2 years. I'm talking 30 years from now. Is this something that you're gonna wake up and be excited about, right? And be proud of it? So number one is be passionate about what it is you're doing. Number two is you want to do research on your industry. So part of that 1 hour a day, I was on sites like Google, YouTube, learning how to do taxes, number one. Number two, how to formulate a business plan, how to run a successful tax firm. What are some things that you need to have in running a successful business, right? You got finance, legal, you have marketing, right? Had to learn about all that. That was through videos, that was through articles, that was through mentors, that was through a lot of different things. So research the industry, get to know it like the back of your hand. That's step number two. And by the way, there's a site called IBIS World that's really, really good. IBIS World. It's really, really good. And to this day, I read the report for the tax industry, every year, just to see what all is going on in my industry, right? I believe that you should know the industry like the back of your hand. That's how you become successful, and that's how you dominate in your space. Number three is you need to basically, as you're doing research, put it on paper. If it's not written down, it does not exist, right? If it's not written down, it's in the air, basically. So all the research that you're doing, all the good stuff that you pick out, put it on paper. It doesn't need to be formal. My business plan in the past, back in 2010, was 2 pages. Now it's since evolved to 6 pages, right? And that's only because I've learned more over that 12-year time span. So with that being said, research your industry, but also put it into a business plan. Nothing super formal. Some people are caught up on this 20-page and all that, but honestly, just 2 pages is good. And number four, test your business plan on a few prospects, right? A few business, like potential clients. With family, it's good to start with them, but just be careful, especially with pricing, because you know how family can lowball you sometimes and kill your dreams at times. So maybe some friends, maybe some people that are very not super critical, but people that are genuinely going to give you good constructive feedback on what it is you're doing. Right. Last but not least, this is where most people make the biggest mistake, and is they don't jump. So you need to jump and you need to launch the actual business.
Good stuff. Cool. So that was ibisworld.com. And that's where individuals can go and read reports about their industry, any industry.
Exactly. Any industry.
Well, look, I took my notes because I am going to check in. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. So this is very good in regards to, like you said, just how you got started, and where you are today. Before we get into, like the tips for entrepreneurs and things like that, because I know that is your specialty, in dealing with, when filing taxes and such. But what, so in starting your business, so, right, you got the plan, you decide, you hate your job and it's time to launch. So in starting your business, what was that like? How did you even get clients? What did it look like getting the word out there? Did you start with any employees? Was it just you? Like, you know, this master 2-page plan that we spent a year on, you know, what did it look like when we started?
Yeah, so in 2010, as I was building my business plan, I was learning how to do taxes and actually doing the taxes with people. So family, friends, right? And I actually started volunteering through different programs. So I was doing that for free for 6 years. From 2010 through 2016, I was literally doing taxes for free, didn't charge anybody a single penny. And it goes back to that first step in running a successful business is, are you passionate enough about it? Now you don't have to go a full 6 years. You don't have to spend as much time as I did on my plan. Remember, Michael Jordan didn't become the greatest basketball player of all time by sitting on the couch and watching TV, right? He actually got himself in the gym and practiced some jump shots. So that's what I wanted to do. But overall, you know, in 2016, so on September 2nd, 2016, actually September 1st, 2016, that was Labor Day in 2016. I, there's certain dates in my life that I'll never forget. And I was there, I was literally driving to a barbecue that I was hosting. And then I got a call from my manager at PwC saying, hey, they asked a question, right? Can you come into the office to finish up a client? Now, I could say no, but we know the consequences when you say no. You're out the door the next day. So I said, okay, I'll come to the office, but best believe this is the last day where you are basically going to get full blown effort from me. The next day, September 2nd, 2016, I formally turned in my 2-week notice. I, you know, basically said, hey, I got to go, right? And then on September 16th, 2016, I left PwC, became a full-time entrepreneur. I was scared to death because I didn't have any guaranteed source of income. I had a mortgage, right? At the time, it was about maybe $1,500 a month. I had other bills, phone bill, you know, I didn't have a car note, thankfully, or anything like that, but I had bills and I had no income coming in. So what I did was I said, okay, well, instead of not having any income, because tax season wouldn't come about until January of 2017. So I said, I got to do something. So I said, okay, 20 hours a week, I'm going to work on my business plan, right? So I spent 20 hours a week working on the business plan, attending networking events, and just marketing, right? Doing marketing, word of mouth marketing. Thankfully, that year, my cousin had acquired a radio station. So he said, hey, Jeff, I know you just started your business, right? Divine Intervention, they call it. Why not host your own show called Money Talks, which I still host today, and just come on, you know, come on the station. We can reach out to 2 million people a day every time you speak. And of course, as a new entrepreneur, I mean, of course, you wouldn't say no to that, you know. So I say, yeah, let me get on the show, and just started marketing, doing webinars, talks, right, social media marketing, and all of that, and was able to get some clients. Right, my first paid client was in November of 2016. In 2016, Badu Tax Services made $900, right? And let's just say ever since, we've since evolved tremendously. Now, one thing that helped me through that journey was passive income, right? Something that every entrepreneur needs to learn about. It's not just about the business you're in, but learn how to make money while you sleep. Warren Buffett, who's one of my mentors, said, if you don't learn how to make money in your sleep, you will work for the rest of your life. So what did I do? The other 20 hours a week, I was driving Uber. I was like, let me learn about the hype. And in that year, 2016, that's when the Cubs, the Chicago Cubs, won the World Series. I'm like, man, this is hot, right? Uber was hot. One time I had a surge of like 6 times. I mean, it was real hot. So I was actually making money driving Uber. But then January comes about, I'm like, I have to make a decision. Do I keep driving Uber 20 hours a week and then doing a tax thing 20 hours? Or do I go all in full time on the tax? I said, let me go all in. I had some savings. At the time, I had $5,000 to my name, right? And that was it, right? I didn't have anything else, no buildings, no none of that. I did have a mortgage, the place that I was living in, but nothing like rental income or anything. So I said, let me turn my car that I was using to drive Uber, which was paid off. It was a 2012 Mazda 3. Let me use that and rent it out to other people. There was a platform called Hire Car at the time, and then also Turo. And so I said, well, let me go ahead and get in. And I was actually one of the first people to lease my car on the site, Hire Car. They actually wanted to form a partnership with me, which I unfortunately turned down. But nonetheless, one car making me $1,000 a month. Literally, I had a guy who requested to book my car. He said, "Hey, I'll pay you 1,000 a month over the next 30 days. Just let me use your card." And then the next day, I get $1,000 transferred into my bank account, and I'm like, "Wait a second, no, I'm doing this whole life thing completely wrong. I need more cars." Next day, I went and got a Mercedes, 2013 Mercedes C-Class. And at first, I was going to use that as my personal car because I would have a car paying off another car. I said, well, that's kind of stupid because I don't need the car. The reason why I was running out my first car in the first place was because I didn't need it and I wanted to make some money. So that the Mercedes went ahead and got on Turo, was making 1,000 a month with that too. Long story short, 8 more cars later, was able to make $10,000 a month passive income. And that's when I learned that it is true that if you don't learn how to make money in your sleep, you will work for the rest of your life. And so the passive income was able to take pressure off of me financially to be able to focus more on the tax business.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that piece right there because there's a saying, right? Like you do what you have to do now so you can
Yeah,
do what you want to do later. And I think
absolutely.
so many people are focused or get focused or caught up on what they don't want to do now.
Mm,
And like discovered it and kind of, fumbled into it. I feel like as most people do, like that, I think that's one of the things, like as entrepreneurs, like we can call it like it would be something if we put something out like and calling it like accidental success, right?
right.
Because it's like we put things out and we're like, oh shoot, okay, that took off or that went, better than I thought it did. But what I love about that is that you're like, I didn't have the stress, right? Of
Mhm.
worrying about bills, worrying about how things were gonna get paid. You took care of home first, right? Like you took care of what needed to be taken care of first, and that allowed you to open yourself up and go after other things. And I think that's
Absolutely.
such a key, right? Right there. I mean, we can interview in the interview now, right? But that's such a key thing to do right there is to focus on the passive income. And there's so many different opportunities for creative and passive income in your life, right? Like just the days of and not bashing 9 to 5, right? Because that can be what you use to go and go after that passive income, right? So whether it's like real estate, whether it is investing in cars and things like that, and leveraging your W2 to help you create that the world of that. um so I'm so glad that you mentioned that in regards to, getting something going that will allow you to actually say like, hey, when it's not tax season, I still got something that's keeping me going while I am building my business because this is what I'm truly passionate about.
There you go. Right on the money.
Good stuff. Okay. So speaking of money, so we'll
Hmm.
stick right with that. And you mentioned the show that you have called Money Talks, which I have tuned into several times. So thank you for doing that and thank you for being consistent.
Absolutely.
One show that you were talking about that I tuned into that I enjoy so much so that I shared the link with as many people as I could. And you talked about like the 40 different ways of getting funding for your business. And so can you share some of those or, what are some of your top, suggestions? What are some of the main questions that you get around funding or even some of the main issues that you see with people, in regards to getting funding? Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a great question, Rashawn. So, pretty much, number one, you got to have your stuff in order, right? You got to have your paperwork in order. If you're looking to walk into a bank and you're looking for funding, they're going to want to see that you got your stuff in order because they're about to give you a lot of money, right? And although it's not their money, it is other people's money that they're using to leverage against it. They're still in charge of that money. So if something happens to that money, guess what? Their reputation is on the line. So they're about to hand you thousands and thousands of dollars, sometimes millions of dollars. So they want to make sure that the person they're giving it to knows what it is they're doing, right? So you want to make sure you have your stuff in order. Now I know we'll get more into the tax stuff, so I'll leave it more so for that, that part. But basically, right, with the business funding, the first thing you want to start off with, number one, you do want to have an LLC, right? Get some sort of business entity going, right? You gotta have that in order to get the business credit. Once you have that established, the next day you can literally walk into a bank or go online and basically apply for a business credit card. Right. So as a brand new business, the first thing you want to start with is a business credit card, even if you don't think you need it. I mean, the points that you're going to get, right? The business credit that you're going to be able to build history on a profile. And then the nice separation of you have all your deposits coming into your business checking account and then all your expenses flowing out of your business credit card account. So a site that I really love is called nav.com. So Nav is really good at helping you find the right business credit card. Me personally, I am a big fan of the American Express Platinum. Love that card to death. A lot of points on the miles, the cash back, the bonus, they give you like $1,500 once you spend up to a certain amount. So I love that card. I mean, any thoughts on that, Rashawn?
Yeah, so I am a new Amex Business Platinum member, and I am
Okay.
just over the moon about, like, I just logged in one day. I was like, look at all these points. So I was so excited, and I got some future travel planned.
Sure.
And literally a friend called me and was like, are you doing this? Do you have the card yet? And I'm so
Mhm.
glad that you said that. I'm so glad that you started off with saying, like, first and foremost, because there's all of these misconceptions around, like, business credit. There's so
Mhm.
many. And, yes, your first few business credit cards, until you have actually established business credit, will be personal guarantee, right? So meaning that you're going, is that right, Jeff?
Yeah, that's right.
Right,
That's right.
right. So meaning that you're going to have to, actually put down your social security number in
Mhm.
order to get approved. And
Right.
so, they're actually going to run your credit and put an inquiry on your credit. So yes, your business can be brand new, but you also need to have a decent personal credit score. I would say,
Mhm.
I don't know what the general rule of thumb is for most
680.
approvals. Okay, so it's like a 680 and above.
Mhm.
And so I didn't think that I was gonna get approved because I applied like years ago for the business
Mhm.
credit card and I didn't get approved. And so I was
Mhm.
like, I wasn't really sure. But a friend of mine just raved about the card and talked about the points and sent it to me, now here we are, years later. And I got approved. And I was like, okay,
Wow.
that's cool. And then it was just like the world, the floodgates were open. Because I logged in and saw all of the member benefits, that you can get from it,
Mhm.
in regards to like the airline credit, just so many benefits. So yes, like, and I think in regards to, while we're on the subject of credit,
Mhm.
not letting it go over people's head. Like, we're talking about the business credit and from a business sense too, right? But then on a personal credit side as well, right? And how, like, utilizing your debit card has no value. There's no beneficial
At
value
all.
to you to use your debit card at all. And it's actually safer for you to use your credit card because your
Mhm.
credit, card company, if you have any like miscellaneous
The
charges and
fraud
things like
protection.
that, yeah, they'll be able to, shut it off or shut it down or refund you or whatever the case. If your bank account gets hacked into, like, you're gonna have some real issues.
For real.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's definitely true, Sean. So, I mean, in general, you do want to start with the business credit cards, right? That's a very, very good place to start. So just like you said, right, it's even the first day of owning the business. You don't have to wait years, right? Because there are some loans that you have to wait maybe 2 years. Right? Now with business credit cards, you can get the business, get your tax ID number, boom, get your business credit card. Another one I love is the Chase Ink, right? The Chase Ink is lovely, a lot of points, right? Cash back, it's all beautiful. They even, like, for your phone bill, they're gonna give you 5% cash back every time you swipe your card and pay your phone bill, right? Which is huge. If you get in a lift, right, they give you 5% cash back. So a lot of benefits there. So that would be tier one. We have different tiers when it comes to business funding. Tier one is a business credit card. Very, very easy. Not to mention 0% interest that you can use to leverage. I literally bought 10 rental properties in Gary, Indiana, using one Chase Ink business credit card, right? Literally, they're going for $500 a pop and was able to buy 10 of them using one business credit card. in Gary, Indiana. You know,
I got a question. So where'd you swipe that card at? Or did you
great
pull money
question.
off the card?
So yeah, so you pretty much so you can always ask them for a balance transfer check, which is a blank check, and they'll give you the blank check, and then you can write any amount you want on it up to the limit. You go to your mobile deposit or you go to the bank and you deposit right then and there. Or there's methods like PayPal and Cash App. There's a lot of ways to extract the money from a credit card. Been there, done that. Flips and Flippin and all that good stuff using credit cards. So you do want to be careful. You want to make sure that you don't raise any red flags with the banks. But tier one is the business credit card, and then 6 to 12 months into the business, I would say 12 months. Apply for a business line of credit. Right, business line of credit. Start with your local bank, the bank that you're banking with because you have the relationship with them, and then go to other banks. You have Fifth Third Bank is pretty good. You got PNC Bank, and then you also have US Bank. Those three banks in particular, they're very, very good at getting you a business line of credit. There are other banks as well, Harris Bank and all these other banks. So that would be tier two, a business line of credit. They'll give you a nice limit, maybe 50,000 to start with, and then you can request increases every 6 months. And then there's also SBA funding, right? There's an SBA 7A loan. You need to be in business for at least 2 years or so. So 2 tax returns, you got to file your taxes, right? As long as you got that, they are very document intensive, very document intensive. That one, you got to have your ducks in a row. I mean, they don't miss a T and they don't miss a nine. They don't miss anything in that. So you got to have it in a row. That's why we put it in tier 3 because it's not the most favorable. You can get as many SBA 7A loans as you want, up to $350,000. Right, so that's pretty good. If you're looking to buy a commercial space where you're occupying over 51%, then you want to use a 504, loan. You also have SBA microloans. That's like smaller loans up to $50,000 through credit unions. Those are also pretty good. And then we have basic tier 4, which is like we call it stay away from debt. These are like hard money lenders, right? They're charging you 18, 30%, right? It's scary interest rates. And they require typically weekly payments, daily payments. Very scary. And I've been there before, right? And it's almost got me in trouble a few times actually, based on some flips, right? Some rental properties. Sometimes we use them as gap funding for real estate, but you do want to stay away from them because although you're getting the money now, you got to think about your repayment plan over time. They can literally they can definitely break your ankles for sure. By the way, when we say break your ankles, we don't mean physically break your ankles, although, there are some people that can do that. I'm talking the interest and the payments draining you financially to the point where you're literally on your knees. So those would be the 4 tiers when it comes to business funding.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So we got, like you said, tier 1 is a credit card. And again, I am over here taking notes. So in regards to funding, tier 1 is a credit card. Any new business can get approved for a credit card. Like Jeff mentioned, you guys can, the Amex Business Platinum card is a great card. If you guys need a referral link, let me know. And the Ink is also a great card, which I have that as well. That was actually my first business credit card was the Ink. And like you said, got a lot of points and was able to get some free travel out of that. And now that I have the Amex card, I'm telling you, like, I am not paying for nothing else. Like, if it don't take Amex, I'm probably have an attitude. Like, because, it's a different mindset. It's a different way of life, right? And I feel like, especially in our communities, like, I didn't learn about credit growing up at all. I didn't learn about the good use of credit growing up. And now my parents were amazing in terms of, working hard and, providing for my siblings and I. They did an amazing job. But when I got to college, that wasn't, it was like, oh, when you go to college, beware of the credit cards, right? Because they're going to be on campus. And that's, one of the first things. But why does it have to be beware, right? Why aren't we educated around good debt and bad debt and the ways to use it and leverage it. Right. And so I'm happy now, that we are having more of these conversations and more people are adapting to this. But I truly believe it is a different way of life. It is a different way of living. Like I remember sitting down with someone who he was like, I have not paid for travel for myself or my family in like 6 years. And he gets a new credit card, like every I want to say like every year. Shoot, once that 0% interest is up, it's like on to another card, right? And leveraging it over and over and over again. But obviously you just have to be responsible. But very good stuff. Okay, tier 2 was the line of credit. From a number of the different banks that you mentioned. Tier 3 was the SBA loans, and tier 4, like you said, the loans that you want to stay away from. So really, really, really good stuff. Like you said, in regards to the loans where you do have to have your stuff together, in regards to your filing your taxes and things like that. There's something that you talk about often when you are on the radio show, and you talk about something that you call the 5 pillars of taxes. So can we talk about what that is and what it means?
Yeah, definitely. So this is actually referred to in my Infinite Wealth course as well. It's actually one of the key highlights, but in general, when it comes to taxes, if you know these 5 things, I mean, you've gotten the game down pat, right? You've got it down. You've pretty much matched taxes. If you're able to figure out these 5 things that I'm about to tell you. Number 1, get an LLC, right? Just get a business entity. Get your LLC through your state, right? Your Secretary of State. You can use an attorney. You can use our firm. We actually help form business entities in Badu Tax Services. We have a company that we actually own called Badu Entity Formation LLC, right? So exactly. So with that, get your LLC, you get your tax ID number, and then step 2 is you want to get your business bank account, credit card account, right? The Amex Platinum, the Chase Inc. And then you want to get a QuickBooks account, right? Something that can help you track your business income and expenses throughout the year. So that's all really in step 2. Step 1 is the LLC and the tax ID number. Step 2 is basically getting the bank accounts, the QuickBooks, right? All those logistical items. Step 3 is you may want to think about converting your company into an S Corp, which would then require you to run W-2 payroll, right? Which would then require you to run W-2 payroll. W-2 payroll is typically at 25% of your net business profit. So if you made $100,000 profit, which is income minus expenses, then that means you're paying $25,000 into your payroll, where taxes will be taken out and all that good stuff. We do have referrals for payroll as well. And then you want to do quarterly estimated tax payments, which are basically advance payments to the government, right? Where you don't end up owing a big tax bill at the end of the year. Now, if you're somebody like Rashawn and myself, you know that you should be probably buying rental real estate, right? You should probably be buying some real estate. If we do that, guess what? We can use a strategy called cost segregation or accelerated depreciation to completely wipe out any income taxes that we would have paid, right? So we make money, we make a profit, we still run our payroll, but we reinvest our profits into something like a rental property. We use the depreciation to reduce our taxable income on our main income source to 0. And now we're not paying any taxes legally, right? We call it the billionaire way,
I was about to say the Badu way.
There you go.
The other B.
Absolutely. And then last but not least, you file your taxes. If you're an S Corp, you file by March 15th each year. And then if you're a 1040 or like a Schedule C, then you file by April 15th each year. So those would be the 5 pillars. Number 1, get your LLC. Number 2, get your bank accounts and your QuickBooks. Number 3, run your W-2 payroll. Number 4, do your quarterly estimated tax payments if you're leaving money in the bank. And number 5, you file your taxes.
Boom. Good stuff, man. I hope you guys are taking notes. Matter of fact, I know you're taking notes because this information is too good to not be taking notes. So I want to ask, So I know you do taxes for, both entrepreneurs and, small business owners. Would you say that is your specialty? I mean, I know you do like personal tax returns for W-2s as well. Do you have one that's your specialty over the other, or one that is a favorite maybe?
Yeah, so we tend to love working with business owners, right? Small business owners. Right now, about 70% of our client base are business owners. And most of them are typically real estate investors, people who are interested in the game of real estate because we're very well versed in real estate. We are on the rich dad, poor dad route, playing cash flow and all that good stuff. So we've done all that. So we tend to love people who are in the abundance mindset. And those people tend to be those that aren't interested in real estate. So we do love working with business owners, although we can work with pretty much anybody, right? If you just have a W-2, perhaps we can teach you how to get into the game of real estate.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that's actually the one of the main reasons that I work with you, is because I say it all the time to everybody. If you're going to invest in real estate, or if you desire to invest in real estate, make sure that your professionals also invest in real estate. So literally down to your realtor. If you are looking for an investment property in real estate, your realtor should also be an investor in real estate, right? Like, selling regular residential properties that are turnkey, newly rehab, anybody can do that. It takes a special type of individual to, climb through a window, kick down the door, walk over debris,
Yeah.
So, down to your attorney, down to your accountants, right? Down, because I just believe, especially, in real estate, that there is a different language that is spoken, right? When it comes to that. So what would you say to the individuals who are looking to invest in real estate as the first time, because you are, passionate in the industry of like helping your clients save taxes and things like that, but you practice this as well?
For sure. Number one, use Rashawn as your realtor, right? So that's number one. Number two is basically you want to make sure you understand why you're in the game of real estate. It all goes back to the whole five steps to start a successful business. With real estate, I do feel like you not necessarily have to be like super passionate about it, but you got to be passionate enough that you want passive income. Like, how bad do you really want it? How bad is like bills creeping up, credit card bills, creeping up on you? How bad is it that you want to get ahead of that stuff instead of being behind? So you really want passive income badly, right? So for me, I'm the type of guy that if I'm under contract on a building, I will do whatever it takes to close on that building, even if I'm down to my last penny. I'm that type of guy, right? Now I've learned a lot of lessons over time about that and keeping reserves and all that good stuff. But you understand why you're getting into the game, and then you probably want to take advantage of some of the programs. Well, here's the thing: before you even do that, educate yourself. Education, education, education. The more you know, the more you can grow. The more you learn, the more you earn, right? So with that, you want to educate yourself. Now, I do have a website called jeffbadu.com that has a lot of resources, not just about taxes, but just about my journey in real estate so far, right? So you want to educate yourself. How does real estate work? What is the process of closing on a building? What are some things you should look out for when buying a building? What does a good return on investment look like? What is the cap rate, right? What is that stuff? What is cash on cash return? How do you calculate the after repair value on a flip? How do you pick out a good contract? So depending on the route you want to go, you do want to educate yourself on that. And then once you do that, take advantage of the program. It's scary how many programs they have out here nowadays. For example, they have the FHA loan, allows you to buy up to a 4-unit building with as little as 3.5% down payment, right? They got the NACA program, which allows you to buy a 4-unit building with zero money down, pretty much. There you go. So, and they got VA loans. They got a lot of stuff out here. So get to know the programs, and then make sure your team, as Rashonda said, is rock solid, right? Your team is rock solid. You got your realtor, you got your attorney, you got your accountant, you got your lender, you got your appraiser, you get your inspector, your title company. Make sure your team is coordinated and talking to each other. Maybe pick out a group or a team, that already has a team assembled. Like maybe your real estate agent has everybody on their team. Like, hey, I got these 7 people for you. All you gotta do is call them, let them know who you are, let them know I referred you, and they'll take good care of you. So make sure your team is down packed. And please, this advice right here will save you 1,000 years to come. Get a property manager who knows what they're doing, because you do not want to be the one that's getting calls, at 3 a.m. saying the toilet's clogged up and we need you to fix it. You do not want to be that guy. For me, I'm fortunate enough to have a property management team. I haven't had a tenant call me in maybe 2 years or so, right? Some tenants, I've never seen them before. I don't know what they look like. All I know is their name and that they're paying on time, and that's it. So get a property manager, and I would say those would be my tips on when it comes to real estate.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So sadly, we are coming to a close, but this interview has been a wealth of knowledge and information, just like I knew it would. So thank you for sharing everything that you have shared. Where can people find you, follow you, support all that you have going on? Let us know about the show, the books, the services, everything.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be here all day. But in a nutshell, I would say first and foremost, thank you, Rashana, for inviting me to speak. It's always an honor and a blessing and a pleasure. And thank you to those who are listening. My main website is jeffbadu.com, jeffbadu.com. So jeffbadu.com is the main site to get a hold of all the things that I'm doing. I got books, including my Infinite Expansion book. This is a book about my purpose, my life story, and the 12 steps to create an abundant lifestyle. It's called Infinite Expansion, How to Infinitely Expand Your Vision of Abundance. And it is available on Amazon. I actually just released part 2 to the book. It's called The Super Hungry, 9 Action Steps to Take Hold of Infinite Resources. Just got released not too long ago. That's the part 2 to the book. Thank you, Rashana. And I personally think it's a better book than the first one, but you should read the first one before the second one. So a lot of the resources are on there. If you want to email me, my email address is jb@badutaxservices.com. Once again, that's jb@badutaxservices.com. Our firm's website is badutaxservices.com. We do offer free 15-minute consultations. And then our phone number is 773-819-5675. Once again, 773-819-5675. I am on all social media platforms at jbadu32, JBADU32, Instagram, Twitter, like Facebook. You just search my name, Jeff Badu. And yeah, I mean, let's make this year, many more years to come, the best year that we've ever had in our lives.
Absolutely. Love it. Well, thank you so much. You guys heard it here first. All of the amazing, well, maybe not first, but, or it might've been your first time. If it's your first time being introduced to Jeff and all of the knowledge and resources that he has. So again, thank you again, Jeff. And thank you all for tuning in to the Wealthy Kings Virtual Summit.
Thank you.